The statue looms over us. The tier is up. The statue reaches the bottom drop.
Godwoken, how can I help? We were naive. It was a painful lesson on the dangers of the Godwoken. But
He exhales.
his was a terrible story. Godwoken, how can I help? I'll do what I do best. Hold things. It's a city. It's from art. Do not, however, assume that there is little to celebrate in the world. Go with honor.
Jehan runs his fingers across his temples.
Adramalik's voice has gone silent. But I have no plans. I'll enjoy.
You always bring me to such wonderfully this place.
I would have preferred a more discreet arrival in Arx myself. I am still a fugitive after all.
These Godwoken are going
You
to
must
be
truly savor my company, God. Would you rush perfection?
Tarquin's jaw.
I dabble in all forms of learning, necromancy included. Who are you to judge me? Weren't you willingly trying to help? But yes, I did it. I ushered Bracchus. Dallas willed it, and I was in no position to refuse.
She thinks she can control him.
What could possibly best the greatest act of necromancy ever performed?
soft, aren't I?
You must truly savor my company, God. Oh, come now.
I'm growing soft, aren't I? I'm growing soft, aren't I?
Allies for hire.
Don't have many more of those on my sleeve.
I've got sword fighters, mages, archers, all willing to fight by your side if the price is right.
Oh. Oh. These Godwoken are going to be the death of me.
Whatever type of companion you need, I can provide.
many more of those on my sleeve.
You can put a price on the warriors I have for hire, but you can't put a price on the glory they'll win you.
Don't have many more of those on my sleeve. These Godwoken are going to be the death of me.
Allies for hire. I've got sword fighters, mages, archers, all willing to fight by your side if the price is right.
These Godwoken are going to be the death of me. I'm growing soft, aren't I? Many more of those on my sleeve. Oh. Don't have many more of those on my sleeve.
Whatever type of companion you need, I can provide.
I'm growing soft, aren't I?
You can put a price on the warriors I have for hire, but you can't put a price on the glory they'll win you.
You must truly savor my company.
Those on my sleeve.
You must truly savor my company.
No one's ever regretted having extra help in a fight. I'll guarantee you that.
Don't have many more of those on my sleeve. Don't have many more of those on my sleeve.
I've got sword fighters, mages, archers, all willing to fight by your side if the price is right.
Don't have many more of those on my sleeve.
Jehan runs his fingers across his temples and scalp, intermittently squeezing and massaging, as if nursing a severe headache.
Whatever type of companion you need, I can provide. Expert wildfire. Even they won't let you down. You can put price on the warriors I have for hire, but you can't put price or it out with you.
A drama leaks. I'll enjoy.
No one ever regretted having extra help in a fight. Guarantee you
Godwoken, how can I help? Go with honor.
You always bring me to such wonderfully destructive places. I'll never find somewhere quiet to settle down at this rate.
You must truly savor my company.
Oh. Oh. Don't have many more of those on my sleeve.
Expert warriors for hire, seasoned in combat. They won't let you down.
Don't have many more of those on my sleeve. These God-woken are going to be the death of me. Don't have many more of those on my sleeve.
You can put a price on the warriors I have for hire, but you can't put a price on the glory they'll win you.
These God-woken are going to be the death of me. Don't have many more of those on my sleeve. Hurry along now. You'll need to find Dallas. Take care of yourself.
I am glad to have met you, my...
The statue looms over art. The tier is... Corbin, the Fletchy...
Oh, yeah? Oh, I mean, I feel it, you know, by all means.
I was wondering when you'd make your next appearance.
God woken are going to be the death of me.
Whatever type of companion you need, I can provide.
I'm growing soft, aren't I?
Anathema is... You must come to me as soon as it's complete. You must truly savor my company.
I'm growing soft, aren't I?
You can put a price on the warriors I have for hire, but you can't put a price on the glory they'll win you.
You're lucky that I enjoy a bumpy ride, my dear. Our arrival here was
Jehan runs.
His voice no longer savor your I'll enjoy peace when it's truly mine to have.
No one's ever regretted having extra help in a fight. Guarantee you that.
You always bring me to such wonderfully destructive places.
What can I do for you?
Suspect in Alexander murder found dead in driftwood.
Very cunning. Oh, you're a fine...
Giant Slayer. May the land sustain you and the wild game feed you, friend.
I welcome newcomers and natives alike.
Nature provides.
Roll up, don't be shy. Shoot, you flea bag, shoot!
What a pile of junk.
They got damaged to the fight. You're not fix subjects.
Nature provides.
You're confident. I'll give you that.
Roll up, don't be shy. I welcome newcomers and natives alike. We shall trade. We shall talk. Roll up, don't be shy.
Nature. A most warm welcome. Do return, should you find it necessary.
We shall talk. I serve all who seek aid, sir, as I promised. Miracles at a modest price.
You've got your work cut out.
Summer's still good. What are you looking for?
I'm not tricky, so long as the arrow flies straight.
Hear ye! Hear ye! Need of hunting supplies.
How's the potion business going?
Lucians, day arrives! Hopeful pilgrims take the path of floods!
I welcome newcomers and natives alike. We shall trade. We shall talk.
Magister's rooted! Lord Count...
I heard that the paladins killed unarmed magisters. Didn't even let them surrender.
Not too loud. What do you think the paladins...
Summer's still good.
Yes. Is it an audience?
Keeping quiet. Is there more on your mind? Come here, stranger. Come here, stranger. Come this way.
I'll be Lucian, and you can be the...
in the beginning, Lucian.
Welcome. What brings you by? All done?
I help you to know and understand.
Good wishes, Mike. I feel the
I
magic.
offer wisdom at
She
research.
nods silently.
Skills are yours?
We are done here.
Greetings, stranger. I've little for sale beyond the very wisely chosen.
Marvelous magic, right at your fingertips. Most marvelous magic, right at your fingertips.
I've heard they're not showing Hubert Oak's work.
I pledge my heart, oh Lucian. Please.
I pledge my soul. Oh, Lucian. He doomed us all when he adopted the baby Damien. I wonder what I would have done in his place.
Candles bathe the bear, the glow in...
We came all this way.
The statue reaches the bottom drop.
Come out wherever you are.
Having the time of my life.
Well
truly.
adjusted.
Lady Cam nods to you. Her
Indeed. Is there more to discuss?
Come out wherever you are.
Do be careful. Do pass the tea. But please, tell me about yourselves.
Well, now, we were hoping you'd see fit to reopen the school.
I'll talk to my husband. He loves children so. Do pass the tea.
Yes, Mum.
Well, isn't this convivial?
Ah, indeed.
But please, tell me about yourselves.
Well, now, we were hoping you'd see fit to reopen the school.
I'll talk to my husband. He loves children so. Do pass the tea.
Come out wherever you are.
What better way to spend Lucian's day than drinking tea with friends? But please, tell me about yourselves.
Come out wherever you are.
We were hoping you'd see fit to reopen the school.
I'll talk to my husband. He loves children so.
Come out wherever you are.
talk to my husband. He loves children so. I'll talk to my husband. He loves children so. Well, isn't this convivial?
Ah, indeed.
What better way to spend Lucian's day than drinking tea with friends? Do pass the tea.
The weather has been frightful.
Come out wherever you are.
But please, tell me about yourselves.
Well, ma'am, we were hoping you'd see fit to reopen the school.
Come out wherever you are.
He loves children so.
Come out wherever you are.
Well, isn't this convivial?
Ah, indeed.
Come out wherever you are.
The statue reaches to the bottom drop.
Venture no blood need not to cross very well.
Rume, charming.
The corporeal transposition engine!
Moving to involuntary death assistant.
Shift behind it.
Prepare yourself.
That must have been the last lever.
Look out!
I see a trap nearby.
Careful. I've spotted a trap. Lucky find.
Getting closer to Lucian's crypt.
You reach for your weapon. It looks at Fane, clicking, and the void woke. It promises Fane to... The truth hangs heavy upon the...
My goodness. What do you mean?
His...
but I not indeed. You feed the great weave. I, Quercus, and you, Shield.
Sir Lord...
No matter what it has. Now.
Come here often. I don't know what you did, but looks like the big moment. Don't consider it. Of course,
Malady
looks like my...
I need worship.
You've shown me.
I've always preferred... Now go.
Lord Alice told me about you. Your divine welcomes you.
The divine you thought...
What a twit.
Lucian frown.
I under...
Respect?
Lucian's gay.
Lucian.
Yes.
Dallas nods. A skull.
I am.
Aren't they just full of surprises?
Fear not, good.
I shall tell long ago.
Of course.
Sign our king.
With the...
During their life.
Our...
The seven.
The seven. When we are done, there shall be no more source in the world.
Really?
Shut your mouth, Godwoken. My people can...
There is...
I was a child. It was hell. The crew. Fane. Yes. Fane.
What? Everything...
Everything our people. But now I...
The hammer's voice.
Did you even look?
Dallas, control you.
Yes.
Dallas's reasons weren't mine to question. All that ever mattered while Dallas.
One more word.
I had to hide. As divine, I was created.
Maggot. With a flick of her wrist, Dallas sends a job.
Don't worry, he's well under control.
Dallas punctuates her statement with another wrist.
Yes, it is to strengthen
The Void Walk, you see.
the Eternal.
The Void of false.
The plan is
We have made.
decide.
There is no. We only lack yours.
As I say, one last good.
The world shall not know this.
We already.
Another sacrifice I was forced to make. Those.
Then let us proceed. Show some responsibility.
Sealing the veil will lock our people away, though if they...
Fane turn...
And you...
You'll be a hero.
Don't let them do... But...
No, never.
I understand. Your
I'm sorry. You've come so.
Poorly, Dallas. I call on the god.
How?
Vredeman cackled. You left the leash.
Kill him!
Do shut up, you tedious buffoon. This is not the time for. Too late, you mouldering, blight-stained pigs. Grant me power, my ally. God King. You would interrupt. The God King hears. He sent to your father. Come to the Source King.
champion struggles to rise, but the weight of his own pain leaves him to gravity's mercy.
My time is done. But your soul...
Dallas groans in...
I have failed. The future of all that...
Here we stand, once more on the cusp of divinity. All my life has been a lead-up to this. I will not say it was if I were to chance upon my throne, I'd think of Sadher. I'd think of my children. And of course, I'd think of you. Of the adventures we had. Of our unlikely, yet heartfelt friendship. Yes, I'd sit there, thoroughly contented. I know.
A mischievous smile.
But I do have to add, likewise.
Well then, this is, as they say, I never dreamed that after all this, let alone that I would be proud to do. I cannot imagine someone I would trust.
Fane lays a bony hand on...
Do you know? I believe you will.
Listen, this is it. Again. And I want you to know I'm not putting up a fight. I've had my vengeance. My life. And then, when you told me you loved me, all I want now is for this to end. And long, long after. I know you do. Now kiss me.
You kiss each other passionately, ready to face the darkest dark. You think back on your journey here, on all that you have seen and done. You think of the Magisters, and the sorcerers they hunted, and of the good and the evil on both sides. You think of how the Eternals came as Voidwoken to reclaim their stolen world. You look at the source around you. The power is immense. You think of what you could do with such power. The rights you'd wrong, the wars you'd win. You marvel at your journey and how it has changed you. You think of those you left behind, and of those you met along the way. It's time to choose your fate, and the fate of all you hold dear. What shall it be? Shall you be divine? After all that you have been through, and all that you have done, all that you have become, the Aetheran lies in front of you. Divinity is yours to take, or to sacrifice. What you do next decides your own fate, and the future of the world. What shall you do with Divinity?
So it ended. A tale that began with my own ill-fated attempt to rid the world of the Godwoken. A new divine rose, a true heir to the Seven, more powerful than ever, and united Rivellon in its battle against the Void. All across the realm, she was loved, worshipped, and adored. Humans, lizards, elves, and dwarves all rallied to her banner. The Great Allegiance stood once more, but the war continued. From the depths of the void, the God King still sought to return. As for me, I was freed of the God King's terrible tyranny. I avoided an eternity of pain and suffering. Now I fight for the other side. Now, I fight for the divine.
Well, well, look what the cat dragged did.
He smiles at you fondly as he takes you by the hand.
You've done us proud. You saved the world, didn't you? No. We were all of us instrumental, but only one walked away with I'm glad it was you. Home, if you don't mind. After all, I've dragons to raise. I need to teach them to be good. They're Maybe an accident or two. I do so long to see my palace again. To sit all day in perfumed shade. But above all, I long to be with Sadher. Oh, but before... Remember how when we first met, I took you by the jaw to inspect not something... Now, if you recall, as per your own testimony, you've no culinary skills. You lack a set still. I'm nothing if not a tolerant man who believes in it. What say you? Well, only the best for the Red Prince.
The flaming hatchling bounces and cheeps out of sheer excitement. Mummy! Mummy! Looky, looky! At me! It takes you a moment to realize the egg you've been carrying has hatched at long last. The chick trills contentedly and flaps its tiny feathers in recognition of its proud parent. It seems you've got a new mouth to feed.
Mummy!
You confronted your demons, in turn to confront Not that your story is finished, of course. Now that I am clear of mind and free of, once I've come to a conclusion, as a matter of fact, source makes for an excellent, whether you are clever until we...
Beast Spirit smiles as you approach.
Here the wild beast just sails on the ocean. He's docked in the cupboard, can't hide you.
He pauses, then...
I've never been fond of what the Divine stands for, but I must say,
Reform my ways.
Her eyes flick down to your mouth. She smiles. Almira pouts in disappointment.
oh, no matter. We'll always have our first kiss. Who knows? But a girl needs some.
You're the new Divine. That's so cool. What's it look neat? There's also the
He taps his fingers.
1,300,000 dozen and 50 gold pieces. Now pay up. Oh yeah? What's that?
Han ponders your...
Okay, I love being all sneaky and...
Fane is reading a volume of Cranley Hubert's famous encyclopedia.
Interesting.
His eyes stay fixed on the book as you approach.
Well, I'm glad to see your sense of...
Fane looks up.
Fascinating. The power of my people. The power of the Veil.
The skeleton looks back to the book.
I can't help thinking that I could have saved them. I could have done more. Had they decided to live in peace, but they made their choices. And I made right. You creatures talk about right and wrong as... No. I made a choice. And I shall live with that choice. That doesn't mean I cannot more... They deserve that much.
The skeleton hefts Hubert's dog-eared encyclopedia, its weight heavy in his hand.
I've been rereading this book, looking over your history once again. It's shit!
Fane tosses the book over his shoulder.
If you have spent your life staring at a thing, you can write about it with knowledge. You creatures have spent your lives trudging about this world, simply that to see the true beauty. Take otters, for example. Energetic, or octopuses. Octopuses? Octopi? Regardless. The world is filled with absolutely incredible sights. Do you know? There is the... I suppose we are all... But my people, in a way, I was... In you, I found a home better than the one I was pining for. Thank you, Godwin.
It gives me almost as much pleasure to speak to you as it does to be whole again. I will always be an ally to those that I am at the ready. Consider me to be a gift from Malady. My wood was split. I feel better than new.
Let me take a look at you. I've never known a god before they became...
She gives you a long, assessing look, but makes no immediate...
Really?
She paces around you like...
Well, you certain don't you feel it? Maybe you should give it a bit of time. I'll serve my... But I won't forget what we love each other.
A kiss, and oh, how sweet she tastes.
Let's do good. You by yours.
Well, if it isn't the new Divine gracing me with her
Tarquin's smirk.
I didn't come all this way to show deference. Some friendly advice. That is the quest. No, of course you wouldn't. I intend to seek the... I thought the new Divine...
Well, Quercus, look who was. No, you're welcome. Honestly, Quercus,
A huge grin.
Of course, had you not...
The cat moves forward.
Quercus! Please, have a... This battle is won, my friend. They summoned the great egg. That is the future. And a web... I never thought I would be... Ow! Quercus! I do not know. Come, Quercus.
The cat curls up.
Amazing I'm still here. That we're... Well, you're so much like him. My instincts tell me to kneel to the new Divine. I've done so before after...
Gareth beams.
A friend.
For a moment, his mind wanders.
Friends. I find a way to fit. I wasn't just content, and so I find out.
There's nothing interesting down there. The future lies above. Not
Malady stands tall and proud, sunlight sparkling off her mask. From here, she looks almost...
Well, here we are again. You, me, and the ship I've saved from... Get an eyeful, Your Holiness.
She turns to you.
Look at you. And actually, I've never looked better, except for once.
She fingers the mask, covering her face. For a moment,
We've come a long way together. I did soon. I'd like to have a little chat about... But... I believe that can wait. Relax. Enjoy. I certainly plan to do... Oh, I don't know. Around and about. Treat myself to some mead, a lover or three. And when the time comes, Your Holiness.
The lute is absolutely familiar in your hands, as...
Come to me, the night is dark. Come to me, the night is long. Sing for me, I'll sing along. Sing for me, oh.
Shall we sail?
You look out to the endless beyond. The sun's light plays upon the waves, just as it always did. And with a start, you realize where you must go next. War raged on. Arx remained the center of power as the races united behind the Divine. But the Voidwoken attacks continued, as they did elsewhere. Arcs would see many more long years of war. The ancient empire of lizards became one of the pillars of the new divine alliance. The houses of war and of shadows were particularly useful in the fight against the god king. The empire used the war to expand its territory. With Justinia dead, the Dwarven kingdom descended into chaos. But although they did not join the Divine Alliance, many joined the fight against the Void and did their people great honor in battle and in death. With Lucian gone, the elves reluctantly rejoined the Divine Alliance. Their place in the war on the Void would entirely depend on the integrity of the new Divine. And on the integrity of the elven Godwoken who did not ascend. And here and there, across the world, what was left of the Black Ring fought on. The island of Fort Joy remained a sorcerer's paradise, a place of exile for those whose sorcery threatened to bring in the Void. For their well-being, its residents depended entirely on the benevolence of the new Divine. Reaper's Coast struggled on. The farms and the fisheries fought to feed the people against the Voidwoken blight. The black pits took fire. The oil there burns still. Driftwood teetered on the edge of starvation until the night the Voidwoken came from the sea. All were killed. This did, however, put an end to the famine. The nameless isle had vanished. Although only open water remained, by instinct ships would steer clear. None of the captains could articulate why. Sir Gareth thanked the surviving Seekers for their service and gave them their freedom. Disillusioned with ongoing war, he set out alone to find a new purpose. He would never stop seeking. Young Han grew up a warrior and became one of the Alliance's greatest generals. But even he could not win the war. With a new Divine at the helm, Malady had a powerful ally. But she was in no hurry to call in her favor. After all, it might be the last thing she ever did. Having performed the greatest act of necromancy in history, Tarquin found the new world unchallenging. He became obsessed with rumors of another plane of existence. One day he vanished and was never seen again. Ahu the Wizard served the new Divine with honor, wisdom, and an at times unnerving feline elegance. The undead priestess Gratiana remained in her sanctuary, happy to wait for the war to pass. She was troubled only by the silence of her goddess. Jehan the demon hunter never stopped hunting for demons. Sahala sought to strengthen the Elven alliance with the new Divine. Her powers of sight proved useful in the ongoing war against the Void, but she could never be sure that the new Divine trusted her. Tova, her mother, was Sahala's most trusted warrior. Fane traveled Rivellon, notebook in hand, recording the wonders he discovered. He kept a socket peeled for signs of the Eternals, hoping to find the wife he had lost. He's still looking. As the new mother, Sabine found a great forest and founded a new elven homeland. Elves flocked to her and worshipped her as a goddess. Sabine swore never to kill again, but once in a while she'd look at her needle and smile. On his return to the Empire, the Red Prince was hailed a hero. He married Sada, and they had many more dragons. Soon, the prince became the emperor. Faced with dragons, the Void did not gain the upper hand in the Empire. And then there was you. And you, Losa Divine, what did you do with your power? What kind of divine were you as the world battled on? Did you show mercy or strength? Did you sacrifice others as Lucian had done? Did you regret becoming divine? Did you wish you'd surrendered the power that runs through your veins and sealed the veil? Did you kill all your demons? Only you know the truth. Only you know if you atone for your sins.
Come to me, the night is dark. Come to me, the night is long. Sing for me, I'll sing along. Sing for me, oh sing for me. Come to me, the night is dark. Come to me, the night is long. Sing for me, I'll sing along. Sing for me, oh sing for me. Sway with me, we'll make them scream. Dance with me, we'll make them bleed. Sing for me, I'll sing along. Sing for me, oh sing for me. Listen, do you hear it? Listen, do you feel it? Listen, I'm calling you. Listen, you do know me. Listen, swing and blow me. Listen, I'm calling you.
After all that you have been through, and all that you ought to sacrifice, what shall you do with divinity?
And so it ended. A tale that began with my own ill-fated attempt to rid the world of the Godwoken. When the dust settled, no new divine had risen. Instead, all Source was released into the world for all the people and every creature to share. Everyone was now a sorcerer. And united, the peoples of Rivellon pushed back the God King into the very depths of the void. This ushered in a new golden age of peace and prosperity. But alas, it was not to last. With many greedy for wealth, power and position, the struggle soon began anew. Source, the very language of creation, was used in violence once more. The never-ending contest for power continued. As for me, I was freed of the tyranny of the God King. To atone for my sins in this world, I spent the rest of my days taking care of the sick and elderly. I would tell the story of the Godwoken to anyone who would listen. The story of the greatest heroes Rivellon had ever known. The heroes who chose not to close the veil.
Well, well, look what the cat dragged in. A Godwoken. But what good? Don't fool yourself. In the absence, as long as there is power, there is conflict. In that sense, I suppose I should look upon it all as an opportunity.
He sighs, which...
But come, we'll not part on bad home. After all, I've dragons to raid. There may be an axe I do so to sit all, but above all, I long to be with... but remember how when we first met, I took you by the George, not something. Now, if you recall still, what say you?
Taken quite by surprise.
I take that as a no. Use your words.
Malady stands tall and proud. Sunlight...
Well, here we are again. You, me, and the ship I've saved from... Get an eyeful. I have a lot of planning to do.
She drums her fingers.
All that work. All that effort, tossed into the gutter like a malformed child. You say that now. Let's see how... Never mind.
She fingers the mask, covering her face.
We've come a long way to get...
She looks you...
I guess, take a moment. Relax. Enjoy. I certainly plan to do the same. The same way I do everything, of course. Oh, I don't know. Around it. Perhaps until we find...
You confirm... Not that your story is finished, of course. Share it until we meet.
The flaming hatchling bounces... Mommy! Mommy! It takes you a moment to realize...
So,
A bit boring to be so. Then again, I suppose they can't fit all of us in Fort Joy. We've come to the brink and back again, so even though I love the rain, but I won't forget we love each other.
A kiss, and
let's do good.
I'm buzzing. I want to say it was brave.
Gareth is still.
The people of Rivellon will call you their savior. Equality. You've blessed them, and I find a way to... So I find out.
Source of all, eh? Time will tell. That is... No, I intend to seek them.
Fane is
I see.
He glances.
Well, there you're a little leaner than when we first met, and a little less divine than you'd hoped, I imagine. Good heavens, do they?
Fane looks back.
It could have been different. I could have saved them. I could have done more. Had they just... But they made their choices. No. Or something. Then again, so... What do you think? I never thought I would wish for... I hear there are some nice beaches in Rivellon.
The skeleton hefts Hubert's dog.
I've been rereading this book. It's shit.
Fane tosses.
If you have spent your life staring, you creatures have spent your lives trudging up... Truly, take otters, for example. Or octopus. Octopuses? Regardless. The world... Do you know? I suppose we are all... But my people, in a way, in you... I found a...
It gives me almost as much pleasure to speak. I will always... I am at the ready.
She is full of surprises. I feel...
You look out to the end, and with a start, you... The world was at peace, at least for now. Few were as prepared for the new world as the lizardkin of the ancient empire. With power spread equally throughout the world, the advantage lay with those who knew how to steal it, and at this the lizards excelled. With their queen dead and the Voidwoken gone, the dwarves held the greatest party in the history of dwarfdom. A new king took the throne, the local brewer. 6 days later, he was stabbed to death with a mutton fork. With their power returned, the elves reclaimed their lands from the Death Fog and began to rebuild. Soon they would split as two factions sought power, one to bring back the trees, the other to bring back the scions. A dwarven joke did the rounds. It ends with the punchline, "So Lucian dropped the Death Fog on them again." Only Sabine could bring the elves together once more. And in a dark forest on the far side of a desert, well beyond the high seas, the Black Ring came together once more. The island of Fort Joy, the old redoubt of the Source King Brachus Rex, was turned over to the people of Driftwood to use as they wished. They turned it into a holiday resort. Reaper's Coast prospered. The fisheries returned, and the fertile farmlands produced the greatest harvests the surviving farmers had ever seen. Blood Moon Island became particularly fecund, its soil producing the greatest crops. A particularly crimson-fleshed orange grown on the island became a delicacy across half the world. The black pits took fire. The oil there burns still. Driftwood became a centre of industry, trade and transport. You would never forget Dorothea's kiss. Dorothea herself left Driftwood for the ancient empire, ever in search of the perfect kiss. She never found it, although once or twice she came close. The nameless isle had vanished. Although only open water remained, by instinct ships would steer clear. None of the captains could articulate why. Millennia later, adventurers would come in search of the legendary divine city of Arx and the crypt of the great Lucian. None would pass the path of blood. Sir Gareth thanked the surviving Seekers for their service and gave them their freedom. Disillusioned with the rising chaos, he set out alone to find a new purpose. He would never stop seeking. Young Han went into the theatre and became one of the realm's most popular actors. With no new divine, Malady found herself in a predicament. She had an important problem to solve, but no ally strong enough to call upon, and so her search continued. Having performed the greatest act of necromancy in history, Tarquin found the new world unchallenging. He became obsessed with rumors of another plane of existence. One day he vanished and was never seen again. With the source released to the world, Ahu the wizard spent more and more time as a cat. One day he decided he would not change back. With Amadia silent, the priestess Gratiana left the swamps and re-entered the world. With more undead than ever before, she founded an abbey in the Dragonspine Mountains, offering them shelter from hatred and fear. Jehan the demon hunter found himself at a loose end, so he opened a museum of demonic artifacts. After it burned down, with Jehan inside, witnesses claimed that the flames were the color of blood. As the forests grew anew, and the elves were equals at last, Sahala shared elven knowledge of the source with the world. But some elves disagreed and plotted against her. The mother would have to choose sides. Chief amongst her opponents was Tova, Sahala's own mother. As Source flooded Rivellon, Thane set out to record everything he could of this new world. As he travelled, he kept a socket peeled for signs of the Eternals, hoping to find the wife he'd lost. He's still looking. As the new mother, Sabine found a great forest and founded a new elven homeland. Elves flocked to her and worshipped her as a goddess. Sabine swore never to kill again, but once in a while she'd look at her needle and smile. The Red Prince came home a hero. With Sada, he had more dragons. Soon, Prince became Emperor, one who would not use his dragons for conquest. His realm knew peace, and the world did not burn. And then there was you. You returned to the world a sorcerer among many. Your future was yours to decide. Did you accept your new status with humility? Only you know the truth. Only you know if you atone for your sins. After all that you have been, or to sacrifice what you do next, what shall you do with divinity?
And so it ended. A tale that began with my own ill-fated attempt to rid the world of the Godwoken. Dallas the Hammer, the secret eternal, purged the Godwoken and used the source to close the veil to the void. The world was saved. Statues in memory of the Godwoken who sacrificed their source were erected all across Rivellon. They would never be forgotten. The half-demon Malady took pity on the soulless, God-woken silent monks and brought them to the Hall of Echoes. There, from the scraps of their souls that remained, she restored them to life. Sorcerers no more, they lived out the rest of their lives, freed of the burden of being the God-woken, freed from the weight of the world. As for me, I was already free, and so were the others. The God-woken sacrifice severed the bond between the Sworn and the God-King. To atone for my sins, I spent the rest of my days taking care of the sick and elderly, telling the story of the God-woken, that the world may never forget the greatest heroes Rivellon had ever known.
Well, well, look what the cat dragged in. A silent monk. At least that's what
She's Malady, the one and only.
Like I would about the return of the codpiece. The man's a... man. Yes, well, all right, all besides. Lucian. As for myself, why, I mean my empire. After all I've dragged there, I do so to sit all above... Oh, but remember how when we first met, I took you not some... Now, if you recall... Still, I'm... What say you? Well, that's settled then. My boots are not going to...
Malady stands tall and proud.
Ah, there you are. More than a silent monstrosity, less than a god. Where did I go wrong? How is so boring. Unfortunately for me. Still, I'd expected quite a bit more from you. Never mind.
She fingers the mask, covering...
We've come along.
She looks you up.
I guess take a moment. Relax. Enjoy. I certainly plan to do the same. Oh, I don't know. Around and about. But until we... If you'll excuse me, darling,
Darling, and I'm here, if just barely. Thank the gods, or whomever. One can hardly get to the truth without one's...
The shadow of a...
I'm glad to. But I won't forget. We love each other.
A kiss.
Let's do good.
Fane is...
I see.
He glances up.
Well, well. A little leaner than when we first met. And a little less divine than you'd hoped, I imagine. Good heavens, do they?
Fane looks...
It could have been different. I could have done more. But no. Or, then again... So, I never thought... I hear there are...
The skeleton head...
I've been rereading it. If you take otters, or regardless. The world is... Do you know? I suppose, but my... In a way, in you...
Well, Quercus, look who finally graced us with us. You're welcome. Honestly, Quercus, some creature...
A huge...
Of...
The cat.
Ah, Quercus! Please, this bat they summon, that is the future Quercus. Ah, don't worry, Quercus.
I always thought that those who resorted to self-sacrifice were lacking in imagination. A world without source is one I believe I shall enjoy this. That is the... No, of course, I intend to seek the...
No more source, no more powers. Reform my ways.
Her eyes flick down to your mouth. She's Almir.
Oh, no matter. We'll always have... It gives me almost as much pleasure. I am at the ready.
You look out, and with a start, you realize where you must... At last, the world was at peace. The ancient Lizard Empire opened its gates. The houses disbanded, and the Empire adopted a pluralist quasi-democracy. Anyone could vote for whoever they pleased, as long as the House of Shadows approved. With their queen dead and the Voidwoken gone, the dwarves held the greatest party in the history of dwarfdom. A new king took the throne, the local brewer. 6 days later, he was stabbed to death with a mutton fork. Lucian made amends to the elves. He gave them lands and vast riches from the coffers of the old divine order. But the elves never forgave him. They would not trust humans again. And in a dark forest on the far side of a desert, well beyond the high seas, the Black Ring came together once more. The island of Fort Joy, the old redoute of the Source King Brachus Rex, was turned over to the people of Driftwood to use as they wished. They turned it into a holiday resort. Reaper's Coast prospered. The fisheries returned, and the fertile farmlands produced the greatest harvests the surviving farmers had ever seen. Blood Moon Island became particularly fecund, its soil producing the greatest crops. A particularly crimson-fleshed orange grown on the island became a delicacy across half the world. The black pits took fire. The oil there burns still. Driftwood became a center of industry, trade, and transport. You would never forget Dorothea's kiss. Dorothea herself left Driftwood for the ancient empire, ever in search of the perfect kiss. She never found it, although once or twice she came close. The nameless isle had vanished. Although only open water remained, by instinct ships would steer clear. None of the captains could articulate why. Sir Gareth thanked the surviving Seekers for their service and gave them their freedom. Disillusioned with peace, he set out alone to find a new purpose. He would never stop seeking. Young Han went into the theatre and became one of the realm's most popular actors. With no new divine, Malady found herself in a predicament. She had an important problem to solve, but no ally strong enough to call upon, and so her search continued. Having performed the greatest act of necromancy in history, Tarquin found the new world unchallenging. He became obsessed with rumors of another plane of existence. One day he vanished and was never seen again. Ahu the Wizard became one of Lucian's most trusted advisors once more. he always knew that something had changed in the divine. He never discovered what that was, or, if he did, he never said a word. With Amadia silent, the priestess Gratiana left the swamps and re-entered the world. She founded an abbey in the Dragonspine Mountains, offering the last of the undead shelter from fortune hunters, novelty seekers, and ghouls. Jehan the demon hunter found himself at a loose end, so he opened a museum of demonic artifacts. He made a fortune. With Lucian in power, Sahala took the elves away from the world. They grew strong once more, amidst the trees of the regrown home forest. Only the new mother kept Sahala's plans for revenge from fruition. But the mother had a secret weapon. Tova, Sahala's mother, keeps Sahala's anger at bay. Lucian returned as divine, united the races, and became Lord Emperor of all Rivellon. Only Dallis knew that he was entirely powerless. Dallis and you. The Eternal, now known as Dallis, was a secret advisor to Lucian and to his successors. For eons she would walk in the world, and would outlive the peoples and all, and wander alone amongst the dying stars. His run-in with his daughter set Fane on a new path. He travelled Rivellon, recording the wonders he discovered, but always kept a socket peeled for signs of the Eternals. He hoped to find the wife he'd lost, but he never did. Then again, he's still looking. As the new mother, Sabine found a great forest and founded a new elven homeland. Elves flocked to her and worshipped her as a goddess. Sabine swore never to kill again, but once in a while she'd look at her needle and smile. The Red Prince came home a hero. With Sada, he had more dragons. Soon, Prince became Emperor, one who would not use his dragons for conquest. His realm knew peace, and the world did not burn. And then there was you. You returned to the world as one more human among many. Your future was yours to decide. Did you accept your new status with humility, or did you rebel? Only you know the truth. Only you know if you atone for your sins. cloud of purest black breaks through. The chill of death, then its very visage, the pale skull at the heart of the void. This is the god...
Not one! There is not one who will choose my people! For we are eternal!
And so it ended. A tale that began with my own ill-fated attempt to rid the world of the God-woken. The Eternals reclaimed the world. Dwarves, elves, lizards, and humans all became slaves, ruled over by the Swarm and the Eternals. The God King had defeated the Seven and returned from the void. Relics of the old world remained, but in time they crumbled and fell, like the memories of the peoples who had built them, lost to time like sand in the wind. As for me, I may have been freed from the Covenant, but the God King never forgot my failure. Each day may be the day that I will be finally punished, that I may finally pay for my sins.
Don't you dare look me in the eyes, slave, for that is all you are now that the world as we know it will soon come to an end. And welcome an undead waste emperor of the dead. Your battle may have ended. My duty to the House of...
Malady stands tall and proud.
Well, here we are again. You, me, and the ship I've saved. Get an eyeful. It isn't going to be easy cleaning up this. I don't know how I could have been so wrong about you. I'm never wrong. How boring. You'll see until we meet again.
Sabine twirls her needle, her face set in a defiant...
Well, you...
She turns away. Still... She stares out. She stares out over the... Gareth bows as you near, but seems either unable or
The Eternal.
Gareth is still.
I eagerly await.
Fane is reading a volume of crap. The skeleton glances with a sad smile. He looks down, tears out...
Correcting... None of this seems to... Now that the Eternals are back, there doesn't seem to be a place left.
He tears another page from the book and tosses it into the air. It dances out to sea.
Well, I am happy, of course. This is what I wanted. And all the precious little mortals I've met along the way. But does this feel right to you? Yes, I'm grateful, of course. Thank you for what you've done.
He turns from you, and with a grunt...
What a waste.
As he watches the encyclopedia sink into the ocean's dark heart, Fane pulls out his own notebook, opens it...
I await, but as I was called, I am at the ready.
You look out, and with a start, you realize where you must go next. And what of you? You were the key to it all. You brought the Eternals back to the world and saw the God King enslave the thieves. You set right the original wrong. And the Seven were punished for their transgression. Are you proud of all you achieved? Or are you ashamed of your sins?